Hello, I'm Jose, and this is the Cinematic Dogma podcast. I'm joined as every week by not my 11 friends, only one. I only need one for just pulling this gist. Blake?
Thank you, Jose. I'm happy to be here, and I didn't quite understand your pun at first. But then I did. Why don't you explain it?
Yeah, so this week we are going to talk about Ocean's 11. Not the original one, but the remake from 2001, I think, yeah?
2001, Steven Soderbergh, and every famous good-looking man in Hollywood.
Correct. Star-studded. How do you say? Star-studded?
Star-studded.
Star-studded, yeah. With all that was a famous face back then. So George Clooney, Brad Pitt, Matt Damon, and friends. Andy Garcia, I guess that someone had to play the bad guys. And it's funny how Andy Garcia completely disappeared afterwards.
Who did?
I mean, not completely, Andy Garcia.
Yeah, actually I had a conversation. Career... He's not aging well. Didn't he do a Guy Ritchie movie recently? Anyway, yeah, he disappeared.
Yeah. And he was like one of those, he's going to have an amazing career moving forward. But it didn't happen. And Julia Roberts. Because
of course,
if you can only have like one female, it has to be like sweetheart, America's sweetheart.
It's all about the boys.
Cool. It's mostly yes. Why did we decide to watch this?
I demand that you answer that question, Jose.
Sure. So this was my pick.
I think in fairness, I think I kind of recommended this to you. We did watch Presence. You indicated, and I wasn't aware that you're not that familiar with Soderbergh's oeuvre. And I said, well, you should really watch a couple, and I think you were surprised that among the couple I said you should watch, I included Ocean's 11.
Yeah, and to be completely fair, I had already watched it in the past. It was more
I thought you hadn't.
Yeah, I have watched it on the cinema. So, but I was surprised that you had it in such a high esteem. So I just came back from a work trip, and on my way back, I was talking with a coworker. And we're talking about Ocean's 11, Steven Soderbergh, and we're both in the same way of, we don't know why Soderbergh is that popular. And I think that we were talking about Presence. We had exactly the same question. I'm like, hey, I don't see anything too unique about Soderbergh. It's not that he's bad or that he's great. It's just that I don't see anything that I would say is that, I'm super excited to see what he's going to be putting out next. So when you brought up Ocean's 11, I just felt like, well, this was an entertaining movie back then, but not something that that occupies any space in my brain. So I was curious about, maybe this aged better. If Blake really likes it, maybe this is a secret gem.
I'm looking forward to hearing if you decided it was a secret gem. Although a secret gem, you make it seem like nobody's seen this movie. I'm sorry, they made 3 sequels. Everybody's seen it. Everybody loves it.
Fair. Let's just say that it's not a secret gem, but if I'm not rating it as I should.
All right.
If it's better than
I hope I educated you and opened up your film world.
Okay, so this is your pick. Should I summarize it then?
Yeah, please. I mean, I wouldn't spend too much time on it because I do think everyone has seen it. But tell us about Danny Ocean and his gang.
So Danny Ocean is a professional thief that he is just released from being for some years in prison. And the first thing that he does is that he plans another gist, like a really large gist where he's going to be stealing 3 casinos at the same time. So the first act of the movie is like just putting together a gang of mischiefs that each one of them has an expertise in different things. So Brad Pitt, I don't know, some of them is like pretty clear about like what their expertise is, like explosives, gymnastic. Other ones are a bit more of
a grease man.
Yeah, a grease man, that's it. But yeah, he connects with Brad Pitt, Matt Damon, and many others to put together like a group of 11. At some point in the movie, we discover that the casinos that they're going to be stealing is that they belong to the same person, Andy Garcia, Terry Benedict. And Terry Benedict is actually dating George Clooney, Danny Ocean's ex-wife, that she divorced him while he was in prison. So there is a bit of a personal vendetta that he doesn't want to steal only the money, but winning his wife.
He wants
back.
the girl.
Yep, it's all for love at the end of the day.
And you might imagine there are very few conflicts in the film, except does Danny want the money or the girl more?
Yep, and the same question to Terry Benedict. Does he care more about the money or the girl?
Dun dun dun.
I will give a spoiler alert of this 24-year-old movie, But yeah, that's pretty
about
much it. Yeah,
Spoiler, spoiler alert. No, just kidding. We won't share how it ends. We all know how it ends.
Yeah. But there are like 2 more of them, so you can imagine like how this ends. And I think that summarizes it. So, how many times did you watch it, and did you like it this time?
So I honestly have no idea how many times I've seen this movie. I would guess 5, 7 times. I mean, it came out the year before I finished high school, so I'm sure I watched it with my high school friends. I'm sure I watched it with college friends. And then it's just kind of one of those inoffensive movies that's on TV. I haven't had non-streaming TV in a long time, but it's just everywhere, right? You got on a plane just like 5 days ago, and it was literally on the plane. It's just everywhere. Yeah. So I've seen it a million times. I liked it. Again, I still think this holds up. I think it's a solid heist movie. I think when you look at what a heist movie wants to be, what it tries to be, it's not typically that much unless you're Spike Lee and you're doing Inside Man. But a heist movie is a heist movie, and I think this film accomplished exactly what it was trying to accomplish, which was super stylish, fun. Like I said, a lack of true tension. The stakes are so low. They try and make them seem intense, but there's never any danger for any character, and it's like a good Disneyland ride. That's what I would say.
Yeah. Oh, that's good. That's a good way of putting it. It's true that, I mean, there are stakes, but at the end it's like, hey, this could be the thing and throw into jail. Again, it's not like lives at stake or just like some kind of, I don't know, like international intrigue that lives are on defense depending on what happens. Is that, no, they just want to steal this casino for love and money. That's about it. So some people are about to get caught, they don't get caught, things don't go like the way that they're expected, but they improvise, and the end. It's a bit of as you said, a Disneyland ride is the perfect airplane movie.
Oh, that's high praise. I understand you're not saying it's like an important film, but that's kind of one of the metrics
it's so
we look
entertaining.
at. Like,
it's like I don't remember like how long is it? Like what, an hour and a half probably?
Yeah, it's not super short, but it's not 2 hours for sure.
Yeah, almost 2 hours. And they flew by. Completely. It's like the scenes are like the right length. Some of them are a bit stupidly longer than they should. Like when they go stealing, was it like the thing for doing that blip of energy and just like making the whole power grid like collapse? Is that when they go like to steal that thing and then Matt Damon is like, no, I have to do something too. That is that this scene lasts 5 minutes when it could have been 1.
That's true, and I'll admit that some things didn't age quite as well. Like, this is really, really, really cool for 2001. It's still cool for 2025, but because it was so hyper-fixated on style, there are some things that kind of firmly root it in 2001.
Yeah. Now, watching this movie, I understand why you were thinking on Fincher when we were watching the trailer for Presence. Because I can see that very highly stylized late 90s, early 2000s, like visual language, pretty close to each other, like between Fincher and Soderbergh. There is almost like a video clip of how cool it is. Fincher, I think that he's more anal about like the cinematography and the filters that he uses, but Soderbergh is also like just pretty good about like the light and dark that he uses. That is like, this feels like a cool noir mix up with a Disney ride.
Yeah, and again, going back to Presence, if you just look at the teaser, not the full trailer, the teaser, watch it again. That looks like David Fincher's world. I'm so confused and embarrassed by that. Moving back to Ocean's 11. So you did like it overall. You don't think it's an important film?
No, I wasn't entertained. I mean, it's something I agree with the Jose from 24 years ago when I went to the cinema that I left. It's like, this was fun. It was nice, but I didn't have like any desire for watching Ocean's 12 or 13 because I left there. It's like, there is no like character development. I didn't care too much about Danny Ocean or his wife or anything. It felt like, meh, fine.
But Vincent Cassell joins Ocean's 12.
Good for him. Honestly, sorry that I miss him. I hope that he doesn't take it personally.
Also, I can't remember if it's 12 or 13, but Julia Roberts plays her character, which is, what's her name? Tess.
Yes.
And Tess pretends in the film to be Julia Roberts.
Oh, you told me that. Okay, that's funny. That meta point is funny.
I do want to read something from the New York Times review, because I'm not saying this is my opinion at all. I just want to hear what you have to think about it. It says, and by the way, they really liked this in 2001. Mr. Soderbergh seems to make a different-looking movie on each occasion he gets behind the camera, though he does fall back on the stuttered, elided edits purloined from Jean-Luc Godard's splintered cuts. He is as interested in playing around with time as Mr. Godard is, and does so here by layering the film with flashbacks.
Ooh, I'm sorry. I think that's a bit of a stretch. It's almost like like the conversation that I was telling you before about like, oh, this is Crush's stories. It's like, yeah, that was created by Crush. It's like, no. It's like in the same way of saying that it's like, oh my God, the way that he uses flashbacks, that's Godard. It's like, well, Godard maybe used that kind of editing, but I don't think that this is elevated art in Ocean's 11. As to say that it's inspired and it captures the spirit of.
That's why I read it to you, because it sounds like we like this movie the same amount in the same way. But when I read that paragraph, even I was like, it's fun. Oh, let's give it fun. Let's not bring Godard into this too.
I think that this is a movie that knows what it is. There is a,
and it's
I'm
exactly
a G's
that.
movie, and I want you to have a good time. That's it.
Yep. Agreed.
And I think that it succeeds at that, but I don't think that it's at any point like trying to change anyone's life or just becoming like the way of living your life. This is not Fight Club.
No, it's not. Although, what is its relation to Fight Club?
They are 2 years apart.
Afterwards? 2?
Not 2 years. I mean, Fight Club
I always
is 99,
forget what
no?
fight. I always think 1996, and you always correct me. So this was Brad Pitt in his Fight Club era.
Yep. Yeah, so 2 years before 1999 and 2001. So is it the
height
style?
of Brad Pitt being cool?
Yeah, the style is also like not too different. It has like the same, hey, this is how you make something look cool on the screen. It definitely is not as greedy as Fight Club, but it's clear that there was a coolness to it. That now it would be like A24 neon films. That is, these are the ones that they own, like what is cool right now.
So what is and what isn't cool is extremely subjective and subjective to time, right?
Fair.
Would you say that you still feel like the film is cool in 2025?
I like how it was made. I don't know
I
if
still
I
think
would
it's
define
cool.
it as...
I think it's cool. It is.
No, I mean, it's completely fair. Is that for me, I'm not completely sure if you watch this in his original time and you consider it cool back then, is like if you're going to be able to be 100% unbiased of, is this cool because it's cool nowadays, or is it because I remember that it was cool back then?
So your coworker, who you said is in his late 20s, did he think it's cool? Could you call him really quick?
I'm not going to be asking him of hours or asking him that. But yeah, overall I thought that it was like cool, but it's more like entertaining. It's like for me, if I had to qualify things, stack ranking them, this is entertainment. like just hardcore entertainment. And then, yeah, it can be cool. It can be many other things, but entertainment is like the best word that it comes to mind.
The New York Times article went on and on and on about how much they liked it. They say this is Soderbergh's best work, blah, blah, blah. I think it's an exaggeration, like completely. And again, I like the film, but I think this is excessive. But I do like this one sentence. It's the world's largest hollow chocolate bunny.
And they really like it, but at the same time, they say
Right.
that hey, it's sweet, but it's empty inside.
Yeah. It's like, it looks great. There's not much to it, but it looks and tastes great for the 90 minutes you're going to spend with it. And that's all I need from this
I
film.
agree. I think that's perfect, because this movie knows that it's that.
Yep. And that's
And I
enough
think
for
that there
me.
is a merit to that. Yeah. Should we go over the questions?
Let's do it.
Hey, so, Blake, would you watch Ocean's 11 again?
Yes. And 13. Not 11 or 8.
And 12?
Or sorry, not 12 or 8.
I feel a bit sad. Ocean's 8, when it was coming out, I was like, okay, this can be cool, because it's true that Ocean's 11 is a very male-dominated movie. It's like the woman is just there as an object of pursuit.
And she's the only woman. Anyway, keep going.
As she's the only woman. Yeah, it's like, I don't think that there is any... As a friend of mine used to joke about, Christopher Nolan, that he says, like, he's so bad at writing female characters that his best movie is Dunkirk, because there is only one woman that he has like a sentence that is 3 words. There is no women. So it's like, he cannot sabotage himself. And I had a feeling that that's a bit like what happened here. That is like, hey, I'm not going to be like even having secondary characters that they are female or that are going to talk. I think that no one else talks. It's
There was
only
also
men.
no women in Inception.
Inception? No, there was. Well, now it's Elliot Page, but it was
Who's a man? I'm just saying.
well, no, and there was also like the love interest of Leonardo DiCaprio.
Who
I mean, it was captured. Do you
I haven't
remember
seen
that
it
it was
in a long
like?
time.
Oh yeah, it doesn't matter. But I had high hopes for Ocean's 8 because this is like a
I did
cool
too.
kind of twist. And then when I saw like the reviews, I was like, I can skip it.
But also, it had a remarkable amount of talent, right? Like, I think Sandra Bullock is talented. I know you don't particularly. Kate Blanchett. Mindy Kaling, I think, is funny. Helena Bonham Carter. Sarah Paulson. That's an incredible cast. It should have been better.
Yeah. Was the one? Oh, but it was not directed by Soderbergh. In any case, going back to Ocean's 11, if I would watch it again, I think I would.
Nice.
Not tomorrow, but I had the feeling that is that, hey, look, this is like if I walk into a room and they're watching Ocean's 11, I may not paying all of the attention in the world because it doesn't need it, but I wouldn't be like, I will come back in a couple of hours. So, or on the plane.
Building on that, do you think that I built it up too much just based on our quick conversation last week when I said, no, it's a pretty good film? Do you think I oversold it?
Well, let me just put it in a different way. If this is the best movie of Soderbergh, this only confirms that Soderbergh is nothing too special.
This is not his best film, and I never said that.
But it feels like the highlight. It feels like the top 3 in the top 3 movies. Is that for me? It's like cool. Okay, thank you.
Let's have this conversation after you've seen Che Part 1, Che Part 2, and Sex Lies and Videotape.
So this will be top 4. Okay. Would you recommend Ocean's 11?
Yeah, I recommended it to you. Yeah. And I rarely recommend movies to you. I say, I think you'll like it, I think you won't. This one, I was like, it's a pretty good movie.
I'm debating, because the thing is, I don't want to say yes, because once again, it's an entertaining movie, but it's not going to occupy too much space in my brain. So if someone asks me, should I watch Ocean's 11? It's like, yeah, why not? It's not going to hurt you. It's not going to be like feeling like a waste of your time. You're going to have like pretty entertaining afternoon. But if someone asks me, is that, hey, give me a Gist movie, I don't know if this is the first one that I will
Inside Man. Inside Man. Inside Man.
Okay, I already added it because I never watched it.
You haven't seen a Spike Lee joint that stars Jodie Foster?
I never watched it, dude.
No, it's fine.
Spike Lee is a gap that I have in my filmography, so I would be down to watch it. But on my flight back, I tried to watch The Sting. That I remember watching like many, many years ago with Robert Redford. You remember?
I remember the film. I don't think I've seen it.
Yeah. And I go like to 10, 15 minutes, and it's like, oh, and maybe this is going back like to the idea of cool that you were saying earlier, is that the cinematography language from Soderbergh in Ocean's 11, by today's standards, it still feels super crispy. Super crisp about like, oh, everything is tight, everything is like the scenes don't drag too long, is that the characters are developed but not too much. It's like you are given like what you need for this Disney ride. When I was watching this thing, I was like, okay, this is from a different time. And it's fine, but it requires like a different energy from the audience to watch.
That brings up an interesting question because you're right. And for a film from the 60s to seem cool today, it basically had to come from what? The UK or
from Godard.
They're the only ones that are still cool now. Or I guess France. France has some cool shit. But America was not cool in the 60s.
Yeah, fair. I mean, Breathless is from 1960. And this is still like the definition of cool.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, I'm going to go with yes because I wouldn't detract anyone from watch it. But I don't think that I'm going to be like recommendingly like coming to my brain like oh my god, this is the movie that you have to watch.
That's fair. Although I do think you should. If you think that 95% of people that go to movies are looking for exactly this experience, just pure entertainment, maybe you'd recommend it a little more fully instead of, I don't know, you could recommend Steve McQueen's heist film, Widows. But you're not going to recommend Widows, man. You're going to recommend Ocean's 11.
Well, but the funny thing is, I think that Widows is a better movie than Ocean's 11.
Right, but which one are you going to recommend to your coworkers?
Probably Ocean's 11.
Yep.
You're right, because it's entertaining. I mean, it's more like Widows is a harder to recommend movie. They have like some amazing scenes. I remember like the characters are like well outlined, and it tries to present a bit more of the society around. In here, it's like Soderbergh doesn't care about that.
We just want rich white guys, please.
Yeah, exactly. Like you're going to be like just these guys are going to be stealing money and love. Okay, who are you rooting for?
Okay.
Yeah. Would you remember Ocean's 11?
The answer is yes. I will say that I was surprised how much I had forgotten when I really sat down and rewatched it. I was like, oh, I don't. I mean, I was reminded and remembered then, but I had forgotten a good portion.
I actually only remember. I'm going to go with this because I only remember like one scene, but it defines everything. When Julia Roberts, they tell her, it's like, oh, you need to watch the TV on this channel. And it's like, I remember exactly what happened there. And it's like, oh, yeah, that's the whole plot.
I didn't want to bring up that specific scene. That is the one scene I was greatly disappointed in this rewatching. I was like, first off, Andy Garcia should lie to somebody that's stolen his money to get his money back. Yeah. Tessa would know that, or Tess would know that. Like it just, and she wouldn't just leave a partner over that. They would have a discussion about it. Yep. Anyway, and it was super cruel of Danny Ocean to set that up. So it's not like she would go running to. Anyway, good movie overall.
Yeah. But I mean, what I find hilarious is that scene is like it's just the whole plot in 10 seconds.
They should have just had that as the trailer.
Exactly. My brain was like, hey, this is the only thing that I remember. I don't remember like who was Matt Damon, like the scene with playing cards with Brad Pitt at the beginning. I didn't remember anything else. I don't remember like okay, George Clooney, Julia Roberts, Andy Garcia, this is scene. I already know what happens in the other 2 hours. Thank you. So, is there anything artistic about Ocean's 11?
Fuck yes. I mean, well, maybe it's stylish. No, the direction here is really fucking solid.
good.
Like, he's good at what he was trying to do. I think, yes. I think
Yeah.
the costume designers should have won an Oscar that year, because the way they're all dressed in these unique, gorgeous, beautiful costumes, like, insane. Yeah, there's a lot that's artistic about it.
Yeah. I agree, and I think that also, from a cinematography perspective, it has a bit of a like Guy Ritchie style, about like sometimes like a bit of a faster pace, like adding like a bit of more of frantic feeling to it, and then like slowing down afterwards. Like when they open like the bolt house, and you're like under one impression, and it's like, oh my god, there's a twist, and they repeat like the whole thing. It's like, I think that kind of speeding up and slowing down, I feel like that shows that Soderbergh knows how to use the medium like pretty well. So yeah, at least like, from that perspective, I feel like this is solid, artistically solid film.
Agreed.
Is this a timeless piece?
I think it is. Even though we talked about having some things rooted in 2001 of the coolness, there's a ton of throwbacks to 60s Las Vegas. I still think this is timeless. I think in 25 years we'll still think it's the same film.
Yeah, and I assume that the original movie from the 60s with Frank Sinatra is like the story, the plot was mostly the same. It's about like, we want to assault some casinos, and there may be like a woman that is a love interest. So I go with timeless because at the end it's a trope that we see like over and over. It's done like pretty well. I'm not going to be attacking it too much for that scene when a main character says that it's like, oh, that's not my phone, because I don't own a mobile phone in 2001.
She just said it's not hers. She left hers at home, I think.
No, she did. She said explicitly, I don't own one. Like, come on, Julia. I'm pretty sure that you do.
The New York Times review of this, it starts its first sentence. It would be hard to make a movie worse than the first Ocean's 11.
Oh, God. Come on, New York Times. It's like we both know that that's possible, and you actually give a New York critic pick to it.
It's pretty brutal to open a review of that. Yeah, anyway.
Especially when it's not about that movie. What kind of gratuitous hate you have to spread around? But going back to the Ocean's 11 for 2001, would you turn this into a TV show?
Ooh. My personal preference would be to keep it a film, but I think the material would lend itself to pretty clean 60-minute episodes for a miniseries,
Yeah, I think that you could make something good from this.
Yeah,
honestly, not like 24 episodes, but 10 episodes, and maybe not even like 40 minutes, but 30, 35. And just having like the classic cliffhanger, like on each one of them, I think that it could work pretty well.
Like an AMC original, or honestly, a Showtime original. After what they did with Yellow Jackets, like they could take this and make something super cool.
Yeah. Now, on the other end, could this have been a short?
I honestly don't think so. There's not a lot of fat to trim in this. It's all used pretty economically. I think this film needs to be... You could have cut a couple scenes, sure, but you need the length.
Yeah, exactly what I was going to say. Like, something could be trimmed, but you would still need more than an hour for telling this story as is, And I think that actually, like, all of the downtime or a bit like slower pace, it just helps with the contrast, with the end result, about like just feeling more engaged to the whole thing.
Yep.
So, yeah. Do you think this movie could have been better?
So the answer is yes, because this is not a perfect film. No, write down no for me. But for me personally, I think this film is exactly what it was trying to be, and that's enough. So I'm going to say no to this.
Yeah, I'm going with no, too. Is that maybe it could have been better, like some way, but it's exactly for what it wanted to do, as you were saying, being an entertainment joyride. I think that is absolutely fine, and we have to recognize that sometimes movies, they don't need to know, they don't need to do more than just being absolutely fine.
Great.
Okay, cool. So should we score this?
Yes, we're technically calling this my pick, so what is your score, Jose?
I'm going to go with 7.5.
Ooh, so I'm going to go with a 7.5 as well. I honestly started this conversation at a 7, but just because for me 5 is good, 7.5 is great, but I think it's a great film. And that is the exact word I used last week to describe it to you, so I'm happy.
I don't think that is great. I think that is like above good.
Yeah.
You know, it's like, you can say that it's like, you know, like great what it comes after, but I have the feeling that it's not it could transcend time and space into a top 100 list in 100 years as these are the movies that they would change your life, but it could transcend into playing in 100 years on the category of classics, of saying that is like you could be entertained during these 2 hours from Earth to Mars.
If we were to have kids right now, I could easily see in 15 years our teenage kids watching this film and still think it's cool. In a retro way, it would be like, oh, look at this historic film. What is it called? Vintage?
Vintage, yeah. And trying to think about, because we're talking about 35 years after the movie was released.
I know a kid. She's 14. I'm going to ask her.
To watch it now. Right now. Maybe I'm a bit more curious, you know, if actually we are like getting close to some kind of point where this won't translate that well.
That's fair. But I think the staying power is considerable.
Yeah. I mean, these stars, dude, I told you that it's like on my flight back. I don't think that we're going to be like recording about this movie, but I watched this movie called Wolves because it was George Clooney and Brad Pitt, and I was like pretty curious to see them as a couple. Well, a couple. I don't know, how did you call this? Like a pair in a movie?
A duo. Just call them a duo.
A duo. Yeah, okay. Seeing them as a duo again in a movie. And it was good. It was like the kind of, hey, this is another entertainment joyride, and you don't have like 12 more actors around you. But also at the same time, it's like after watching it, I think that I told you is that don't go out of your way to watch it, because this is just okay. This would be like a 6 movie. And this one I had the feeling that it's also entertainment, but I think that it's more meaty and more like up and downs, like along the way, that when you are done watching it, you have a smile on your face. And for me, it's like, hey, this movie should be recognized also because they are not as easy to make as they look.
Yep.
Cool. To everyone out there, like, thank you so much for listening to us. Hit like, subscribe, whatever. Tell all of your coworkers about our podcast.
And until next time.
Bye.